Hey y'all, it's Sherry. I'm back. I'm here this week for an update on all the things we got done last week. And it was a lot. I will warn you right now, I don't look good. It is humid. It is hot. We're actually only 84 degrees, but we're at 70% humidity, so it's brutal. It's in the feels like temperature of the 90s, and you just feel damp, sticky, and wet. But anyway, I figured I'd update on all the things we got done, show you some of the things that are happening. So yeah, here we go. Okay, our biggest thing of note, our biggest project that we tackled, we have liberated the back porch. Yes, indeed. Look at that. There's an Artemis. And that's where she spent the entire time we were liberating. We got it all weeded, which is nice. You can actually find the porch. As you can see, the mounds, we pulled up a lot. I still have to get those put in the bin, but I'll do that shortly. I've already discovered fire ants, so I'm going to wait until my foot stops stinging. But anyway, yeah, so what we discovered is our elephant ears are escaping. But you know what? That's okay. All of those that are growing outside of the boundary of the flower bed, we're going to dig up, and once we clean out under the magnolia tree back there, they're going under there. So they will fill in under that area nicely. And free plants, hey, why not? Another thing we discovered is we thought our Pride of Barbados were lost, but they're not. We've still got them, so that's really good news. I was afraid I was going to have to sow some seeds and grow some more, but we've got them, so that's good. We've also discovered rogue blackberries, 2 of them. They've already got berries on them. As you can see, they're not ripe yet, but we figure we'll leave them. Once the berries are ripe, we'll see how they taste. If they're good and sweet, then we'll dig them up and move them to an area where they can just spread, because blackberries will spread. Any case, so we got all of that done. That was a lot of fun. Back here in the corner, in the Mediterranean area of the garden, I cleaned out the circle bed. Got all the weeds pulled. Got the metal edging of the pyramid bed out. We haven't moved it to the garden yet, but that's coming. We got the peach tree planted. Chances are what I'll do is I will either plant some herbs or flowers in this bed around the peach, but we're gonna have to enclose it in probably chicken wire to keep the chickens out of it, because while they don't touch the weeds, they dig up everything we want. So that's a thing. They are an unruly bunch of hooligans, but you know, they provide us breakfast, so that's okay. Still waiting on the figs to ripen. They're not ready yet, but you know, we're waiting. Still need to dig up the dead pomegranates. Still need to kind of neaten up the loquats a bit. But moving on, doesn't it look so much nicer now? Once I get the piles cleaned up and put in the garbage bin, it'll be fine. And they will go in the garbage bin, because a lot of those weeds had gone to seed, and that is not something I need in my compost pile. So they will go in the garbage bin. Our chickens, we have started working on integrating the peeps in with the older flock. We've got 6 of them. And right now they're in their little area, but they don't stay there. At night they just jump over the fence we've got in there. Yes, girls, yes. But at night, they just jump over the fence and go into the roost with the bigger chickens. So we'll probably take that fence out tonight because obviously it's not needed. The principle behind it is that when you're integrating new chicks into your existing flock, there is a hierarchy. Because of course there is. And you run the risk of the older chickens pecking at the little ones, possibly hurting them. But, you know, honestly, since our rooster died, we haven't had a lot of problems with that. So yeah, we will probably take that fence down tonight. In the garden, everything is still going good. We've harvested more bush beans. We've been harvesting the fava beans. We've been harvesting squash, which it looks like there might be some more ready down there that I need to pick. We've really been enjoying the fresh vegetables. We've been harvesting more peas. The peas are still producing. It's just, in this heat, it's nothing short of amazing. But they're still producing. Let's see. Our beans are starting to put on beans. You know, the pole beans just didn't do good this year. And you know what? What we'll probably do is let these just dry and then save them to plant for next year. They're shell beans anyway. I believe they are succotash beans on one side and 1,500-year-old cave beans on the other. And they just didn't do well. But I think it was because of the temperature, the ups and downs, hot, colds, that sort of thing. Our chili pekin, he is bushed out lovely. Our serranos are growing. We've got the purple nut sedge that I need to get out here and pull. That has been an ongoing battle since we've lived here, so it's nothing new. As you can see, the fava beans are just loaded, so we're still harvesting those. The Armenian cucumbers are all sprouting. That's lovely. The melons are sprouting, and they are noir de carme. So they are sprouting, doing well. Our bush beans are starting to give up now. It's getting hot, and we've already gotten 3-gallon size bags of bush beans in the freezer from just this plot. So what we'll do is we'll continue harvesting until they stop producing. And then we will pull these up. And what I'm doing is I'm going to be sowing some sweet corn seeds. And once those sprout and we clear this bed out, they will go here. Corn plants need plenty of nitrogen, and these bush beans have been feeding nitrogen into that bed the whole time they've been there. So that'll be perfect for the sweet corn to grow. As you can see, our tomatillas are loaded with little balloons. We're just waiting for those to get ready to harvest. So the pigeon peas are doing great. They're doing well. And the squash, as I said, there's still some more in here that I need to harvest. The plants are growing strong, but we've got a virus going. So it won't be much longer before these are cleared out. And I'm not sure yet what we're going to plant in this bed. It remains to be seen. But anyway, that's how the garden is going. Over here, we have the golden berries, and they're finally starting to take off. They're getting bigger, starting to grow, so that's good. Our edamame is doing well, and the random volunteer mustard plants, they're doing well. our little pink Thai egg tomatoes are producing. They've got lots of little green tomatoes, so that's good. My husband did bring home this wooden box that he found. I think what we're going to do is move it back to the garden. We will probably put cinder blocks around it because, as you can see, the wood is starting to bow in places. But if we sink it down and put cinder blocks around the edge of it, that should be enough to hold in the soil. And we will probably use this to plant onions and garlic, maybe this fall. But anyway, that will be another bed that really didn't cost us much. More weeds that we dug up that need to go to the burn pile. Over here, our front flower bed, I finally did find some daylilies. We got some pretty yellow Stella D'Oro to plant in that bare spot. So once all of this fills out, it'll be nice. I have begun pruning the crepe myrtles. I've gotten this one done. I still have that one, and then I have the 3 trees out there. And that brings us to one of my big pet peeves. Okay, my pet peeve. Every year in late winter, early spring, you start seeing what is colloquially known as the Crape Myrtle Massacre or the Crape Murder. These are both very apt terms. But basically what it is people will take their gorgeous crepe myrtle trees and they will behead them. And by behead them, I mean cut them off so that all they are left with is a stumpy trunk with even stumpier little knobs coming out of the top of it, like the picture above, like the picture here. This is my neighbor's beheaded crepe myrtle. Why they continue to do this, there is no scientific reason for it. In fact, the science is very strongly against it, but, you know, people still do it. How it started was back in the late 70s, 80s. Crepe myrtle breeding took off. They decided to breed for disease resistance and things of that nature, you know, as plant breeders do. That is their job. And they started breeding trees. Before that time, crepe myrtles were considered, you know, more smaller, shrubbier type growth. But more of the actual woody trees started coming up on coming out in the market. And, you know, these were the like the Natchez and Tuscaroras, and they were new breeds, and people were excited for them, as gardeners are. Don't get me wrong, I get excited about new plants, especially new types. But these were trees that would grow to 20 to 30 feet tall. And, you know, people would get excited about a new type of crepe myrtle. They were accustomed to the crepe myrtles that they were used to, and they would take one home, plop it in the ground, and lo and behold, you know, oh, you planted this under power lines or whatever, you're going to have to cut it off. And so they would literally have to cut off the top of the tree to control the size. That being said, here it is, you know, almost 50 years later. Why are people still doing this? Well, there are basically 3 reasons, and none of the 3 make any sense whatsoever. The first reason, people are still planting them in the wrong places. They're still planting them in areas where they won't fit. And so they can't grow to their full potential. and they aren't allowed to grow to their full potential. And you see this all the time. That's like the live oaks that everyone here in Texas are so fond of. You know, you have a house built and you have landscaping done, you're going to have a live oak tree somewhere. But in any case, with the crepe myrtles, there is no excuse for planting a plant in the wrong space. Unlike the 70s and 80s, today we have Google. And all you have to do is type in Natchez crepe myrtle and it'll pop up and tell you this is a 20 to 30 foot tree. Don't plant it under power lines. I mean, it just, you have Google. There is no excuse for this anymore, but people still do it. The second reason is there seems to be some myth that, oh, if I chop off its head, then in the spring it'll grow all these new branches and all it'll produce so many more flowers, and the flowers will be at eye level where I can enjoy them to their fullest. Okay, no. Yes, it will make big clumps of blooms, but unfortunately all of the little twigs that sprout out of the top of the tree, like you see in this picture here, are weak, flimsy little fast-growing whips that actually can't hold up the weight of the flowers, and so they just droop. Crepe myrtles are not a weeping willow, and they shouldn't look like that. Sorry. And they don't produce more flowers. Because at the end of the day, you've cut off the top of the tree. You've got all of these open wounds, and yes, plants have open wounds just like people do that are a good place to introduce bacteria, viruses, fungus, etc. that can make the tree sick and die. Not to mention the fact that you're sending this tree into such high levels of stress that it kicks over into survival mode, which means, okay, I have no leaves to do photosynthesis to give me energy to grow, so I'm just going to put out these little shoots as fast as I can to get some leaves so I can get some energy and food to grow. And yeah, that's not how that works. But anyway, the third reason is, well, so-and-so down the street does it, so I should have to do it too. No. If so-and-so down the street jumps off a bridge, hopefully you aren't going to do it. So why are you beheading your trees because so-and-so down the street does? All of that being said, okay, when they do this, when they lop the head off their tree, as I said, it introduces open areas that can be, you know, a good place for bacteria, viruses, fungus to get in the tree, kill it, make it sick, etc. Not only that, it weakens the tree because then the tree can't photosynthesize, can't produce energy to really produce strong, healthy growth, as opposed to the thin little whips that these people get. And it weakens the tree and eventually will kill it. You can see in this picture of my neighbor's trees, the one on the right is dead. It is dead. It is not coming back. The one on the left, you can see there already some of the stubby little branches that he's cut are already dead. The tree is on its way out. I mean, it's trying to rally, but it's on its way out. And the new growth on the tree, you can see they're just thin little whips that really aren't going to support that tree. I give this tree 2 years tops, at the most. I would be surprised if it survived another winter, especially since I already know next winter he's going to cut its head off again. Yay! But the general rule of thumb is never remove more than 1/4 of the canopy of the tree, just to be safe. The proper way to prune a crepe myrtle is to go in first and remove any dead wood. Okay, you can see here on the crepe myrtle that I have pruned. I've pruned off all the little dead tips. I've cut out any dead wood, but for the most part, I haven't removed much. I've only removed what I absolutely had to remove. You can see over here in the crepe myrtle, I haven't pruned yet. The dead tips on the branches, those are easy. You just snip them off above the growing leaves. Snip it off there, that's all you got to do. Remove any dead wood in the tree. That's the first thing you do, is remove any dead wood. Once you've done that, take a good look at the tree. Are there any branches that are crossing or rubbing against one another? Clean those up. Any surface of a tree where two branches are rubbing against each other, that is going to create wounds in the tree that are a good place for bacteria, viruses, etc. Not only that, it just looks ugly after a while because they will callus up. So make sure there are no branches rubbing or crossing each other. The next thing you'll do is you'll look at shape. Is there, like, maybe one branch is really long and scraggly? Snip it off just to keep the shape of the tree. And that's really all you got to do. And if you're somebody who wants a crepe myrtle that produces blooms, right about eye level where you can really enjoy them, or maybe even cut some for a vase, why not get the black diamonds? That's what I have here in the front bed. They're not going to get much bigger than this. They produce a ton of deep red flowers every year that are just gorgeous. They don't require a lot of maintenance. If you have the space for a 20 to 30 foot tree, crepe myrtle trees are gorgeous. They are gorgeous and they do produce tons of blooms, but don't cut their heads off. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be that person. Don't be my neighbor here. Don't do that. You don't want that ugliness in your yard. You want a beautiful, graceful, blooming tree. The way to get that is not to do this. But in any case, that's my rant on crepe myrtles and the Crape Myrtle Massacre every year. We'll leave it at that. So now that I'm off my soapbox, as you can see, I am just sweaty. It's not pleasant. But now that I have finished ranting about the Crape Myrtle Massacre that happens every year, I don't know why, I'll go ahead and end this week. Hopefully I'll have more to update next week. I'm not sure what I'm going to get up to. I know I have seeds to sow. We got our seed subscription in this month from San Diego Seed Company. Basically it's for Zone 9 plants, and I'm in Zone 9, so perfect for us. But we got jumbo pink banana squash. We got bodacious sweet corn, which is the corn I'm going to be sowing. And we got Florida giant watermelon, which I have already planted because watermelon is awesome. And when it's ice cold in the middle of summer, when it's 1,000 degrees and 100% humidity outside, ice cold watermelon just can't be beat. It's just awesome. And besides that, it makes a lovely jelly that is just fabulous. But anyway, I'm going to close for this week. And, as always, if you liked, go ahead and like, subscribe, all of that YouTube stuff. And I will see you next week. Bye.